Believe it or not, I'm speaking to you behind the camera because as of today my passport runs out. My 10-year UK European Union passport runs out. So I thought I'd go through all the places I'd been as recorded in my passport, and at the same time go through all the places I've gathered gifts from. I was originally, it's my arm, I'm not going to appear on camera because I haven't shaved. I did originally start buying gifts, and it became difficult. I've got something. Got one. It became difficult to think of things to buy. So eventually I decided, rather than this one, rather than collect buy a gift, I would get a fridge magnet. I can't remember which was the first fridge magnet. The passport might help. Then I discovered, after I bought the first one, that my fridge isn't magnetic. Well, it's not magnetic, it's not made of a metal that's magnetic. So I thought, damn, what am I going to do? And luckily my bread bin is, although it, as you can see, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, fitting it all on. This was from Australia. It doesn't actually say, I've just noticed, it doesn't actually say Australia on it, but of course, kangaroos. So that confirms that's from Australia. The glass I got from Russia. It's a set of shot glasses, and that is a paperweight I got from Warsaw. Right, on to the passport. Oh, as I said, those are, just before I forget as well, I've been to all of those places that I've got fridge magnets for, except for Lucy Pinder. I've yet to go to Lucy Pinder. So that was me in 2004. That was me 2004. So start from the beginning of the book. And what do we have first? Some of it's difficult to read. Which helps the process. Perhaps I should have written in. Right. First ones, I've got a stamp for Singapore. I'd been to Singapore before. However, I was doing a not quite round the world trip. I stopped in, I got as far as New Zealand, which is also on that page. And it included, the logical place to stop was Singapore, so I went to Singapore again, and it was just as hot and humid as last time I was there. What can I remember? Can I remember a nice massage, and walking quite a bit. That's about it really. So I was in Singapore. So where's Singapore? Singapore is there. One over. That's my Singapore fridge magnet, so we'll put that to one side. That is my New Zealand fridge magnet. I think it was a better fridge magnet than that. more substantial. Unfortunately, I think I broke it. When I open and close the bread bin, they fall off sometimes. So that's New Zealand. New Zealand. What can I remember about that? Unfortunately, I arrived in New Zealand. I was there for about 5 days in Auckland. The hotel was lovely. It had cooking facilities as well as sleeping, which is ideal because I got there, and this is not the first time on one of my trips this has happened. I couldn't get access to money, or I didn't have any, which is the same thing really. And so I had to keep to a tight budget. And so having the cooking facility was ideal. Unfortunately, it meant I didn't have any money to go anywhere else apart from stay in Auckland, which was a bit of a disappointment. And the other thing I significantly remember is I went to the big tower in Auckland, had a burger, and they gave me this sachet of sauce, and I didn't know how to get it open. It was nothing I'd seen before, and so I made the foolish mistake of pointing it towards myself and applying pressure to it, and unfortunately I squirted tomato sauce all over my shirt, and it was a nice clean white one as well. I'd ironed it special. So that's what I remember at Auckland. Also, I had to go on a golf simulation, and that's about it really. That's about all I did apart from have a wander around Auckland. Yeah, I was hoping to go to the South Island and see more of New Zealand. Unfortunately, I just saw Auckland. So that's that. What do we got next? Now the problem with let's check. Let's read forward. I've been to America twice. The first time was so that's June 2008. Admitted. Must have admitted. So that makes sense. So I don't think I got stamps for that. Looking at that. So here's a stamp saying I was admitted to the United States. Now I've been to the United States twice, although I've got haven't got the stamp, I don't think, for the first time. I went to California. There's my California stamp. One fridge magnet. And I went to Disneyland. I don't think I went on a single ride, I just had to wander around. It was very, very busy. So I bought that before I left. Yeah, I went to Los Angeles. Yeah, I flew to Los Angeles, and basically I booked the flights and then to and from Los Angeles, then decided what to do afterwards. And I wanted to go further than I did. However, when I worked out how big the place was and distances, I could only go from Los Angeles to San Francisco and then return. I was hoping to go I think it's San Diego, I think, as well. So that's what I did. I hired a car and drove from Los Angeles to San Francisco and stayed in a couple of places on the way there and one on the way back. What can I remember? I remember having a problem with my hire car. I didn't have a RAV4, didn't have a parcel shelf, so I couldn't hide my suitcase. So I ended up with the Prius, which wasn't too bad. However, I did fancy the higher driving position of the RAV4. However, I had to have the Prius. So that was that. The first hotel in Los Angeles was very nice. The one I stayed at when I returned, I'd wish I'd booked the first hotel because it was good. And the door to the hotel room, was more like a motel really, was straight onto the car park, which I didn't really like, to be honest. Didn't like Los Angeles at all. The stars, the stars on the pavements. If I was some of the stars, I wouldn't be particularly happy, to be honest, because there's some, this used car park. There's your star. So that's not so good. San Francisco I liked, and unfortunately it was a bit cold. I can remember getting cold there. I didn't think to take a thicker coat. I took more of a summer coat, and so I did get a bit cold in San Francisco. And when I returned to Los Angeles airport, in the changeover or the handing over of the hire car, I forgot it was hanging up in the rear of the car, and I left the coat behind. So that was that trip. Well, I think this stamp is for a cruise I did from New York. I say that because I've got 3 stamps, and because I arrived in New York, left on the cruise liner, and then returned to New York, I got some extra stamps. So I think that's from the cruise I did from New York to the Caribbean and returning to New York. So there's my Empire State fish magnet and a Turks and Caicos Island fish magnet. So that's that one. Where's the other ones? So of course I've got June 2008, 2nd, and what's the other one? June the 8th. That might have been because we went to that's one other thing I've got, yeah. So I can leave the camera because something I forgot, yeah. Puerto Rico. That might be a stamp for Puerto Rico as well, because we stopped there. And I bought some dominoes, as you do. I didn't have any. I still got the price on. And I haven't played now, or built the massive big pile of them to knock down. So that's Puerto Rico. So that was the cruise. Cruise, it was okay. The cruise line was very nice. The cabin was very nice. As usual, everyone ignored me. See my aftershave. So that's New Zealand. That's stamp. New York, I don't like New York. I don't like big cities, to be honest. And New York's one of the worst. Worst. Right, what have we got here? We've got on the left hand side, we've got Tokyo. And for Tokyo, they've got an Eiffel Tower. So I bought an Eiffel Tower Tokyo version fridge magnet. Tokyo. Tokyo, yeah, remember Tokyo. Oh, I've got loads probably. First arriving, of course, everything's in, believe it or not, everything in Japan's in Japanese. It's amazing, isn't it? And so I had a map, sort of map to my hotel, and it's a nightmare because you can't work out when it is. So I almost, for the very first time, almost got a taxi to take me to the hotel. However, I managed to resist, and I had to ask for some directions in a convenience store, and I eventually found my hotel, and then found it was the wrong one. Not the first time this happened to me. It was the right brand of hotel, except there's two of them, Daiichi I think it was, and I arrived in it. I thought, oh, this is nice, and I was in the cheaper version next door. It's still nice, but the rooms, of course, being Tokyo, the rooms are very, very small. I had a nice first evening. I met a nice young lady, yeah, first night. We just got the thing off to, got the trip off to a good start. And then I tried to use the subway, or the public transport system, and it's an absolute nightmare. Again, it's all in Japanese. And I just couldn't work out what line to get to go to where, you know. So I discovered I can't think of the island's name. There's an island with Fuji TV on, and a big sort of entertainment place with Ferris wheel and indoor games like football, target shooting, baseball, all this stuff. So I used just to go over there because I knew how to get there and I wouldn't get lost. I think I had to go to the Royal Palaces. There's this football game where the goal is divided up into like 9 segments, and you have to kick the ball through the different 9 segments. So I did that most of the time till I ran out of money, and then I had one go at baseball, I think. So that was Japan. Oh, another strange thing. All the restaurants, practically all the restaurants, they have displays of the food as they would appear on your plate in the window. Unfortunately, it's all plastic, so it looks horrible. Really put me off wanting to go in and taste the food. So I stuck to Italian, I think. I think I had mostly Italian food in Tokyo, because I was put off by the plastic plates. So that's Tokyo. That was on the not quite ran and roll trip. Then we've got on the right hand side Dubai. That's another one that's fortunately fallen off the bread bin and I broke it. There's Dubai. So if I put my finger there, you wouldn't know, would you? Unfortunately. Now you do. So that's Dubai. Hot, obviously, Dubai. What can I remember? I can't remember that much. I found a nice indoor shopping centre, whose name I can't remember. Began with a B, I think. And I played floodlit pitch and putt golf, and it was a nightmare because because it's floodlit. Well, certainly for me, I couldn't hit the ball but presumably my eyes were confused. So I've got squinty eyes as it is. Presumably my eyes were confused, and I kept duffing all the time, taking lots of mud and no ball. So that's something I can remember from Dubai. I can't talk too much, otherwise this has gone for yonks, isn't it? Yonks. Ah, there it is. I think. Yeah, I think that's I think that's the American stamp. It's difficult to see, isn't it? There's a camera there, that's it. So that was March 7th, 2000. Yes, sorry, yeah. That's why it was cold in San Francisco, because it was March. And I didn't think about that. Because I think, oh, Los Angeles, nice and hot. And in San Francisco, I shivered quite a lot. I drove through Big Sur, SUR, and all the rest of that, and the Coastal Road, and it's excellent. Very, very scenic. And then we get Australia, Sydney. That was on a partial, almost ran the road trip. I stayed in Sydney for about 4 days, I think it was. And I can remember arriving and it absolutely bucketed down. Bucketed. Buckets of rain it was. There's a problem with my hotel. I did eventually get in, and I was in a travel lodge, I think it was, more high rise, which is good. I had a nice view because I was quite high up. So that was Sydney. For some reason, I decided I needed to do open air concerts. I usually sang wherever I went. They say I'm mad. And so I found a spot under the Sydney Harbour Bridge, facing the Ferris wheel actually. And I did it about 3 nights, worked out the set list, and did 3 nights singing just on my own across the water in Sydney. So that was, yeah. I did try the Opera House, not quite in the Opera House, by the park next to it. It wasn't a very good spot though, people would get walking past, so I decided to return to the Sydney Harbour Bridge and sing under that, so no one can hear me. It's the best way really, when you're mad. So that's that, so that's Sydney. So I haven't got a Sydney, I just bought this Australian animal, with pens. How's Sydney? Oh, I departed Australia because I'm now somewhere in the UK. Melbourne, what can I remember about Melbourne? I arrived at the airport and it was, I'm not sure if there's more than one, but there's the one I landed at. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was nowhere near Melbourne. It was miles away. We had to get a coach. You had to get a coach from Melbourne to, sorry, the airport to Melbourne. And again, I was concerned I didn't have enough money to buy a ticket for the coach. And I think there was I wasn't sure about this cash point. There's an issue with cash point. I forget what it was now. However, I did actually get some money, and I could afford, because I don't know, stuck in the airport in the middle of nowhere. It was quite hot, and not actually get to Melbourne. But luckily, I managed to raise some money and caught the coach into Melbourne. I had an ice cream, but when I arrived, and somehow I got a very bad sore throat, and so I didn't feel too good when I stayed in Melbourne, unfortunately. And the other unfortunate thing was I wanted to run while I was in Australia, and I was running out of time, and I didn't recover really well enough to be well enough, though I still had to do it. So I did, in spite of the fact I didn't feel very well. So I ran along the river eventually when I left my hotel, past some sports grounds, and got to a bloke fishing. I decided I'd run far enough, and then ran back to the hotel. I visited the cricket ground, Melbourne I think it's called, and couldn't visit the Australian Open because didn't seem to be visitors sort of centre there. So I just had, you can view it from the walkway leading to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. So that was Melbourne. Right, talking of problems, this is another recurring theme in it. Like this, I haven't planned. Don't plan my trips very well. So we've got 2 Canadian stamps. The first time I went to Vancouver, and I haven't got one, have I now? I haven't got a Vancouvian fridge magnet. I went to Vancouver in January. I wanted to hire a car, go to Whistler, and unfortunately I had cash issues again. I couldn't get pick the car hire, so I had no car, and it was okay. I bought a load of food, and then discovered I couldn't take money out, and I couldn't get in contact with my bank to find out what the problem was. So I was in Vancouver for like 4 to 5 days, I think it was, and I did this one shop, bought a bit of food and a block of cheese, and all of a sudden I had about 4 days left, 3 or 4 days left, and I only had 50 Canadian dollars, I think it was, or pounds version, and I also had to buy a ticket for the coach to get me to the airport again. So I had to basically, I think I had one piece of what was called steak, which is very, very cheap, and it tasted it, and I lived off eggs. I had to run out the rest of the food to try and save. I was thinking, what can I buy what's the cheapest thing to buy to survive for 4 days? So yes, Vancouver, that was a complete disaster. It was even a worse disaster than Auckland, money-wise. So I was restricted. I couldn't pay for anything after about the second day. So I just had to get myself entertained. Went for a walk up to the park. Lost one of the bouncy balls on the roof, mucking around. That's about what I did. I can remember setting the smoke alarm off, like trying to cook that strange steak, and there wasn't any snow. There was loads of snow. Well, there was snow piled up by the sides of the roads, but there wasn't any snow while I was there. It was just very old snow that just hadn't melted, piled up. So that was of Vancouver. I did manage, just about managed to save enough money to actually get the coach to the airport. And the other thing I almost forgot to mention was the cheese. I didn't realise I bought some cheese, and it cost it was only cheddar, and it cost an absolute fortune. I spent practically all my shopping on a block of cheese, in proportion to everything else I'd bought. So yeah, not only did I have little money left to survive the 4 to 5 days with, I spent most of my money on a big block of cheese. So that was good. Oh, the other thing was I watched Star Wars on TV in Vancouver, and the dialogue was completely different. Not the words, the way they acted, delivered their lines was completely different to what you see on TV here. It was a bit like Darth Vader in episode 1. Episode 1, episode 1 when he's an adult, Hayden Christensen. It's like they're all acting like that. Hello, Luke. Have you got the Force? I have got the Force, yes. It was dreadful. So there you go. So that's Star Wars in Vancouver. The second trip was much more successful. July the 20th, something or other, 2000 and July the 20 smudge, 2010. Yeah. I went to Canada and I visited Niagara Falls. So that's my Canada. My second trip. I went to the East Coast this time. Again, I didn't plan it very well. I booked the flights and I wanted to get as far north as Quebec, and then when I again checked the mileage, it's not, that's trouble with atlases, they're only small, aren't they? When I checked the mileages, it was a lot further than I thought, and even where I did go was quite a lot of driving. I went to Toronto, drove as far north as Montreal, and then returned to Toronto, and then on my final day I took a bit of a chance and drove out to Niagara Falls, and then had to drive to the airport, and I allowed myself time, and then there was an accident on the motorway on the other carriageway driving back into Toronto, so I had a bit of a nightmare that I was going to miss the flight. However, I did actually get there with plenty of time to spare, even though I had difficulties finding the airport. I don't like spending money on sat-nav. It's expensive, isn't it, sat-nav? So I relied just on my nose and some maps I printed, and a route map of that side of Canada, and I got lost as was the outcome. Yeah, I got lost quite a few times. I did always get to where I needed to go. However, I usually got lost first. Montreal. They have this strange road system in Montreal where how is it? I've got how it works now. Strange road system in Montreal where you couldn't, when you came off the oh yeah, that's right, yeah. On motorways in this country, you have split roads usually going up off the motorway, whereas in Montreal, I'm not sure it was all Canada, Montreal, you came off and then went under if you wanted to go to the other side of the motorway, and so I couldn't work out how to get off to find. What happened was, yeah, I remember now. I'm rambling. I got off just after my hotel. I should have got off at the previous junction because my hotel was on the right hand side and I was on the right hand side. So I came off the motorway. I could see my hotel behind me. I did think of doing a reversing up the road to it. I thought I'd better not, and I wish I had now because then I couldn't work out how to return to the way I came up the other carriageway. I couldn't work out how you got to the other side of the motorway, and eventually I worked it out. You go under. It was very confusing, and so I drove past my hotel about 3 or 4 times, trying to negotiate the roads, and I ended up in the airport near the hotel. I was in the Holiday Inn. Yeah, I ended up in the hotel. I ended up near in the airport, and I had to work out to get out of that. So it was quite fun. Luckily, it was only me and Polly in the car. Otherwise, it could have been stressful. Yeah, it was stressful, obviously. However, it was less stressful not having someone with you. So yeah, Canada. It was the record heat. I think it was the hottest it's ever been in Canada, or close to. It was 40 odd degrees. I had to play football as well. I eventually found a pitch. I found some nice pitches. Unfortunately, I had to pay, and I didn't know who to pay, so I eventually found a school pitch, a Toby Coke, I think it's called, and played on that. Grass was a bit long and it was a bit hot. Still had to go. So that was Canada, and I left the football deliberately in the car when I left Toronto Airport, just in case someone wanted it. Also, it meant I didn't have to carry it. So that's Canada. Well, that's the Americans, I don't. That's my Russian visa. I was living in Ireland at the time, so I got the visa in Ireland, and I was on a holiday, wasn't it? Holiday holiday, and a week. I stayed in Moscow for a few days, 3 or 4 days, and then St. Petersburg for the remaining time. The hotel in Moscow is very nice. Unfortunately, I wish we'd stayed there as the second part of the trip because this hotel in St. Petersburg was a bit small. Got the shot glass. What else did we do? Got a train. We caught the train from Moscow to St. Petersburg. Not a bad group to be with. So that was good. What else did we do? I just went sightseeing, yeah, as you do. Organised sightseeing to various different places, which I've now forgotten what I saw. So that was that, yes, Moscow. Saw the palaces in St. Petersburg, very impressive. So that was that. So I think that's all the stamps I've got. Because of course you don't get stamps everywhere you go, do you? Paris. I've been to Paris once before, and it was extremely cold, and I've queued for the Eiffel Tower, and my feet almost froze off. It was November, I think it was. I went to Paris though, believe it or not. There was an offer on Eurostar, and I caught the train in the morning and returned the same day to Paris. So I sang, as you do, in the park near the Eiffel Tower. But to no one, of course, because I'm mad. So that's Paris. Bermuda was on the cruise. Vienna. I think this is my last foreign trip. A very stressful flight over. It's one of the reasons why. And it's obviously, as you can see, near the cooker, which is always a bit splattered. I went in the winter again, and not again. I went in the winter, like Vancouver, and when I arrived, it was -10. It's freezing. Almost couldn't find my hotel again. Luckily, I managed to. I printed out a map, and I'd learned from that experience since. I've now got a magnifying glass, and I print with a big font. It was the problem where too far away I could see the words, but couldn't make them out because the letters were too small. And if I put the map up to my face, just then make the words bigger, they went fuzzy, which is difficult when you're trying to find your way around late at night, which is when I arrived in Vienna. Very nice place, nice buildings, nice coffee and cakes, lovely, yes. So that was nice, Vienna. And I had a better trip on the plane returning. So that made it finish on a bit of a high. Yes, the hotel was a bit strange. It had a mezzanine level for the bed, which I was a bit concerned about falling off during the night. However, I've seemed to have survived. So that's Vienna. Went to Prague. That's Prague in Praguian language. Prague, again, probably my favourite to look at. Probably my favourite place I've been. It's just got it's got a tower, which is good for sightseeing, but it's a bit of an eyesore, if you want my opinion. When you're actually in the city itself, I did go up it though, and you do get a very good view, yeah. So that's Prague, and I had a lovely, lovely hotel. Unfortunately, I was only staying a couple of nights, so that was really disappointing to have such a lovely hotel and only be there for such a short period of time. Because some places you go and you rather be there at all. In hotels, some hotels. Switzerland, I think I went to Geneva, I've forgotten now. Went to Geneva for a short trip. Helsinki, that was nice. A nice hotel. Almost didn't find the hotel again because it was very residential. It wasn't like a proper hotel. It was more like a residential area, really. It was very nice though once I found it. And I took a trip to Tallinn on the ferry. The ferry itself trip was very stressful because it was so packed. I was on my own and it was just absolutely heaving with people. I almost didn't make that because I'd forgot my passport. I had to run back to the hotel to get it and just about made it to the ferry and then got stressed on the ferry there and returning. Tallinn, the old city, is lovely again. There was a new part to it. I didn't visit that. I just went to the old side. What's happening in Helsinki? That's about it, really, I think. How many minutes have we got now? Iceland. I had about 5 days there in, I think, about August time, so it was quite light, quite late. Oh yeah, I went on a tour, booked a tour, and we stood by a geyser. Of course, I didn't really think about it, and it went up, and I didn't think about which way the wind was blowing, and so I got wet. Stayed in Reykjavik, went to the hot baths, the fed by hot springs outside. That was okay. And I can remember seeing Eyes of Blue in a convenience store, as you do. Hotel wasn't bad, so that was Iceland. Lucy Binders, hadn't been there. Madrid. I think there's more food. Madrid. Yeah, there was food. Madrid. I had about 3 or 4 days there. Quite warm. The hotel was very small. I can remember enjoying a political discussion in the hotel room. Well, that's about it really. Can't think what else. Oh, I found I wanted to play football. I couldn't find it. Oh yeah, I couldn't find it anywhere. The only park I found was on too much of a hill, so that didn't go very well. And I can remember doing keepy ups in the Real Madrid shop. Luckily the ball was soft, so it wasn't too difficult. I didn't do too many. I did some keepy uppers in the Bernabeu shop, and sang on the steps afterwards, as you do, because yes, I've discussed that, haven't I? So that was Madrid. I'm a little spinner. Oh, that's from Tallinn. Fortunately, that one's broke as well, though you probably wouldn't know if I hadn't told you. From Tallinn. Roma. I went to Rome. I've been to Rome twice. I went on a cruise, a solo holiday cruise, which I enjoyed, and I went on my own as well, because I didn't have that much time in Rome, so I was there for a couple of 2 or 3 days, and it's mostly, no offence, but it's mostly it's like a city of ruins, isn't it? It's like, I don't understand it myself. I think it's because they're not allowed to rebuild, but you think, like the Colosseum. Oh, let's go to the Colosseum. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? No, it's not. It's ruins. So that's Rome. I tried to play football there as well. It was really hot. I thought I'd found somewhere, and it was covered in trees. There's not really that much open green space in Rome, to be honest. And that was where I took photos of my feet in Rome. So that, because I'm not travelling on my own as usual, it'd be quite funny to, at least I thought it was, to take photos of my feet in near places. in Helsinki. I took pictures of Polly. Yeah. So there you go. That was Rome. Amsterdam. More food. I had a couple of days there, I think. Stayed in a hotel. Got yeah, I can't remember much about Amsterdam. It's flat. Yeah, Amsterdam. Went to Amsterdam. It was flat. And Warsaw. I had 2 or 3 nights there again. Budget airlines, and I found the thing that surprised me was a lot of all the shops underground, because I suppose they do that. I didn't go in the winter because of the cold. Yeah, all the shops underground. So that was interesting to see that. The hotel was very nice, extremely nice. Again, I was disappointed not to be there for longer. And I can remember singing Bridge of Sugar Water in that particular hotel. So that's that. And talking of ruins, because I haven't been on a trip since I think 2010. I think was the Austria trip. I went to Stonehenge, and I decided to get a fridge magnet from Stonehenge. They've got a new visitor centre now, of course. I was still there when they had the sort of terrapin type structure. And what gets me, going to talk about ruins, not being had to be rebuilt, was they obviously it's all fallen down or was pushed down or whatever, and so you go into the gift shop and they sell the stone circle as ruins, as you can take away, which to me is crazy. Or perhaps you could have some versions of it as a ruin sold as a gift, but wouldn't you also sell it as it should be? There wasn't. You couldn't buy that. No, you can only buy it as the ruin, which I found a bit silly. So there you go. So I went to Stonehenge. So those are all my fridge magnets. I think I've talked far too much. I could talk more, however that's probably sufficient for the time being. So there you are. Heavily used, my passport. That's the front cover. That's the rear cover. That's the front cover. So I'll leave Lucy Pinder there because that's the only place I haven't been. Lucy Pinder. And out tea as well. Of course, I sit down, look at my coffee table, and discover I'd forgotten one souvenir from my trips, and then I remembered I'd forgotten 2 others. So, I'll start with the car from Jersey. I hired a car in Jersey. It wasn't a BMW Mini. However, I decided I'd buy one because I quite liked the look of them. So I bought that in Jersey. I can't remember much about Jersey, to be honest. Flew there, stayed a couple of days, flew home again. Bought a BMW Mini. They speak French as well as English in places. Sicily, I went to twice. I went on Solo's holidays. First time on basically get drunk every night holiday, and the second time on a cruise. What can I remember on the first one? I can remember it absolutely bucketed down the very last day of the holiday. I was in a cafe just after midday, I think it was, once I'd shaken off the alcohol, and I never thought I was going to leave because it just didn't stop raining. And we're supposed to be playing a mixed game of football that same day, and we just about managed to, because the tennis court, pitch we're going to play on, was a hard pitch, hard surface, and it was flooded. So we had to wait, and it just about dried out enough, I seem to remember, and we managed, and we played. So that was that trip. And the cruise, we just stopped off, obviously, on the cruise, and I revisited, I've been drinking now, I've got coffee waiting, revisited the places I've been to before, really. Sicily, keeping it brief, and the final thing, I bought, I don't know why, because I had a signet ring when I was 21, I think it was, and I didn't like wearing that. However, I decided to buy a ring in Turkey on the same cruise. We stopped in Istanbul, Sicily, Rome, and near Naples, if I remember rightly. And for some reason I decided, because they took us to a gold shop, so I bought a ring. And lo and behold, I didn't like wearing it, so I put it in the drawer, and then decided, as you do, to send it to my, at the time, my favourite pastry girl, Keely Hazel. As you do. I'm sure everyone does that, don't they? So I kept the certificate, because it's there, isn't it? You can see it. And I sent her that gold ring. So that's finally, I've put the fridge magnets onto the bread bin again. It's darker now, so the lights come on the camera, and you can see they're not in the same places, and they probably have to be particularly loosey pinned to be jiggled with later. Nice to open the bread bin. This is a real bread bin, look, with a magnet as well, and it's currently empty. So there you go. Finally, this is Richard Webster saying goodbye. Would you believe it? I was going through my cupboard, getting a saucer, and I discovered I had another souvenir which I forgot. Because I went to, I've been to Berlin as well, and I forgot. Yeah, I bought two things when in Berlin. I bought a piece of the Berlin Wall, genuine piece of Berlin Wall apparently, with a trabant, tiny trabant in a glass, no, plastic box. Unfortunately, it got a bit damaged over time, and I had to throw it away because everything started moving inside the box, and it was rattling and everything, so it didn't look too good. So I threw that away. However, I did buy this as well. Little plate from Berlin. I stayed near in a hotel near Checkpoint Charlie. I remember. I remember having Achtung Baby by U2 in my ears, wandering around the streets, and I sang along with it as best I could. It's very lyrically heavy, that album, so it's hard to remember the words. So yeah, that was brilliant. I went into a restaurant which was completely pitch black, completely darkness. I only had starter and main course. That's all I'll say. And it was completely nothing. You can't see anything. Completely black. It was quite weird. What else I do? met a nice young German lady, invited me up to her apartment, so that was nice. So that was Berlin. The final thing, I've been to Paris, that's me Paris. Also, I've been to Disneyland Paris, which isn't really in Paris, is it? And I didn't really buy anything to remember that trip. What I did have to buy though was a European motoring kit bag, because I caught the ferry and drove to Disneyland Paris. And it's fair to say it's the most lost I've ever been. Didn't have sat nav as usual, and first I couldn't find the place where the actual village where the hotel was, and then when I found the village, I had terrible troubles finding the hotel, and I didn't think I ever was. I stopped and asked someone, and then luckily I saw a sign for it on lamppost, and so I eventually did find it. I stayed in Montevrain. Went to Disneyland Paris. I actually went on one ride this time because the queues weren't too bad, and so I braved one ride. It's more a case of I'd rather go there again with someone and share the experience with them, really. Oh, I did just go on one ride this time, so that's why I didn't tend to go on ride, and also I didn't like queuing either. So that was Disneyland Paris. The hotel was quite nice. Had a nice. I've done a tour of it on another video. Hotel was very nice. What else happened? Oh, after visiting Disneyland Paris, I went to the train station. There was this toilet, and it was absolutely lovely. You had to pay to use it, and it was quite a large size. Just one toilet. I think it was for the disabled. I can't remember now. I am disabled, of course, so I'm entitled to use it. And unfortunately, I tried to ask a lady cleaner afterwards, after I was leaving it. I tried to ask her how long the money I'd put into the slot entitled me to stay in the toilet. I thought perhaps I could stay there for a month. Unfortunately, she couldn't speak with very good English, so that conversation didn't go particularly well. But it was lovely. It was a lovely size. So I was wondering whether I could, once I put my money, I could stay there for a month, perhaps. So yes, that was Disneyland Paris. Hired a car, and unfortunately, on the way home, I got stopped. I had to have my car checked, so that was quite frustrating. And it was quite late at night as well, so yeah, so that was fun. Sitting and waiting for them to check all over your car. So yes, that was those. I think finally now are the all of. There's no passport stamps for those, and those I think finally are all of my fridge magnets, souvenirs, passport stamps covered. Oh, one thing in the kit, the instructions for the putting the stickers on the headlights weren't that clear. I think I got it right. I'm not sure, so I apologise if I didn't. And also, it came with leather wipes, and I haven't got a car, so I didn't know what to do with them. So I decided I would post them to Kate Beckinsale for her to use for a next Underworld film. What was it called? Is it Underworld? Underwear? I'm not sure. Underworld film. So yes, that is not in that bag anymore because it's been sent off to Kate Beckinsale. So finally, I think that's everything covered now. As Richard Webb is saying, goodbye. As it's Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, I thought I'd introduce Polly. I was in Prague, I decided, because I'm destined to be forever without a female company. I needed a companion to talk to and interact with, even though she couldn't talk to me. So I went into a toy shop in Prague, and I found an item to use, a toy. I forgot what it was now. And then as I was leaving the shop, I spotted Polly on a shelf, and I thought, damn, I prefer a Polly. And so I had to turn around, pick up Polly, return to the till, and then some confusion started, because even though I hadn't actually left the shop, the lady was still a bit unhappy about having to do a refund and swap of the first puppet for Polly. I sort of made up a song for her, although I keep forgetting the words because it's in my head. She was sitting on the shelf in a Prague toy shop when I found her. I picked it up, I dusted her off, took her to the till, and then some confusion started. She's my baby Polly, she's my baby, ho 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 ho. She's my baby Polly, she's my baby now. After some negotiations on the till. For Valentine's Day, I got her special chocolate fish, and from all the way from Kiwiland. That's New Zealand, isn't it? Yeah. Because I obviously can't say what it is. She had a wish list, and she wanted chocolate pineapple lumps, so I bought them. And then I saw these and thought, oh, Polly would love these. I shouldn't talk like that, really, should I now? Sorry, Polly. And so I hadn't bought the one. So, I bought some chocolate fish for her, and they came with love hearts. I won't do suicide tablets myself, never mind. I'll try them anyway. So, that's my Valentine's Day message for Polly. It's the Richard Webster saying, I bought Polly in Prague. Goodbye. Would you believe it? I've just been dusting. I only dust when there's dust on dust. That's when I dust. And I've just discovered this bit of rock here, which is also a souvenir. This bit of rock is a souvenir from Sicily. I took a trip to see Mount Etna, and while I was there I picked up a bit of the lava, and this is that bit of rock. It's probably got dust on, to be honest, because it's difficult to dust. So that's probably Mount Etna lava with dust from my flat on it. So yeah, Mount Etna. It wasn't. At least it was active. It's such a wide area though. It just erupts over different parts of the hill or the mountain or whatever. So yeah, I went to Mount Etna and picked up a bit of Mount Etna rock. I've actually got a picture of myself in front of the bit that was erupting. So that's that. And the reason the Sicily plate stand is a bit dirty because I use it as my teapot stand. So there you go. So that's something else I've forgotten. You could argue I should do it over again, but I sort of forget something then as well, I expect. So there you are, that's a bit of genuine Mount Etna rock from Sicily. I stayed in Catania, And then when I went on the cruise, I visited Catania again, so I'd basically visited everything I see before. There you go. So there you are, that's a bit of genuine Mount Etna rock. Would you believe it? I would, yeah, because I'm quite forgetful. I had forgotten a couple of souvenirs. I've just taken a photograph of them again. I've taken about 4 or 5 now because I kept forgetting things. For the photograph, I've got the dominoes with the price still on. From the chat, I forgot this drinks mat. It is a picture, if I remember rightly, of the entrance to Mozart's house in Vienna. I popped along, this was January, so it wasn't high tourist season. I popped along to see Beethoven's house, and that was closed. So I couldn't visit that one. So I went and had a coffee afterwards, and I was reminded how much I enjoyed the smoking ban, because they still smoked. They had zones for it in some places, which doesn't really work, is it? Smoking zones inside the building. They did have smoking zones, but even so, they still smoked inside some cafes, and I didn't enjoy that at all. No, I hate smoking. So I did that, and then might have been the same day, might have been a different day. I went to Mozart's museum, which is in one of his old houses. So that's that drinking mat from Mozart's museum in Vienna. The other thing I forgot, it's not really a souvenir as such, it's just a card. This is the cruise line I went on to visit Turks and Caicos, Bermuda. Well, I sort of returned to New York, and somewhere else. Oh, and yeah, and of course, Puerto Rico. There's only two things I remember from Puerto Rico: the fort on the coast, which is slightly ruined-ish, and with nice grass in front of it, so that was nice, and a plaza which is full of so many. I've never seen so many pigeons. So that's what I remember at Puerto Rico, and the fact I bought some dominoes. This was the cruise line, the Caribbean Princess, that I was on. I've been on a cruise before with Solo's Holidays, and on that I had a single cabin with a porthole, which I didn't mind too much because it was a socialising cruise, so I didn't mind so much that was my living conditions. I had a single bed, which isn't ideal, and it did go very well because I wasn't solo for that holiday, so that was good. I'm afraid, yes, to say it wasn't a solo holiday. However, this was going to be a solo holiday, so I didn't fancy being stuck indoors all the time. So I got myself a balcony. I think it was up that sort of area. So I had a balcony, which is good because it meant also I could do some singing out to the sea. So that was good. The cruise line was very nice, yes, very nice. However, it was very much a solo holiday as opposed to a solo's holiday. So that's there. That's the ship cruise liner I used to go to those places. Right. And as I'm here, let's do the souvenirs again on the video. I've got some coins. That one I know in the Berlin plate is, well, I'm pretty confident it's German because it's got the same Brandenburg Gate on. The other coins, where are they? The other coins, that one is Canadian. That one I haven't got a clue, it's a euro. That one is a Ural scent, and it must be from Ireland because it's got a heart on. That's also a Ural. I don't know where it's from, but it's different. And that final coin is from, remove the mini, is from Iceland. I had loads of Iceland coins left over for some reason. I kept the Urals because I might go to Ural land again. Iceland, I don't know why I ended up with all the Iceland coins. And I had a couple of Canadian coins left over as well. There you go, there's all the souvenirs. We just taking a photograph and posted on Twitter. What day is it? It's the 24th of February, isn't it? Yes. So this is Richard Webster, finally, hopefully now, finally saying I've covered everything. Oh yeah, I haven't done that way. ENT, yeah? I went on a golfing holiday. I had a very nice time. Yes, so was holiday. That's all I'll say. There's the sewing kit is appropriate though. There you go, there's everything. Its date is now the 6th of March, and I've had to return to the fridge magnets again, and to be honest I'm going to have to stroke souvenirs, passport, chat, and this I'll probably have to do it all over again because I've forgotten so much stuff. This is my last chat about Mount Etna. Was that the last chat? Possibly not, that wasn't even the last chat. No, it wasn't, was that? What else did I talk about? I've forgotten now. So there you are. So, not only have I missed places in chats previously, also some places I didn't actually get a souvenir. So, I've retrospectively, recently, in the last few days, and they've arrived today, bought some more fridge magnets for bread bins to talk about. So do it in alphabetical order. What order is that? Where's that? That's B, yeah, that's B. That's, and that's, yeah, so we'll do that. That's the first one. That is the Acropolis. Another one of the world's great ruins, which has to be kept as a ruin. I don't understand it myself. Well, I think I do. It's like someone comes in, ruins it, and then doesn't allow you to rebuild, basically. So that's what happens with ruins. And then you have people going around laughing at it, being tourists, or crying, depending on your viewpoint. So that's Athens. I went to Athens, the Acropolis. I went to Athens. I've been twice. The last time was on the cruise, using that passport. And I think I actually flew into Athens. I can't quite remember where we flew into. However, yes, we visited the Acropolis. I had a wander around the Acropolis as part of the Solos holiday cruise. So there you go. So that's Athens. I'll go out of alphabetical order, I think, just to continue. And as I gave away the ring I got from Turkey, I bought a Turkey fridge bread bin magnet as well. That's the Blue Mosque, which we visited when we arrived in Istanbul. Very impressive. I think it used to be a Christian church, and then they added minarets to it, so it became a mosque. I was impressed by it inside. Of course, they've added electric to it, which takes, to me, obviously it gives you light, having lights with electric, but it just takes away the effect of the building to me, because you have all these lights hanging down from way up high. It rather ruins the effect, although of course it does actually give you light. So, and you can't, I suppose you can't have candles because that would be an health and safety issue, wouldn't it? Can't have candles these days in buildings, especially if you don't want to ruin, I guess. So that's Istanbul. I had a very nice cruise, and I think it was, I don't know, first or second night. I was almost sort of matchmaked by another girl on the cruise, and I spent it with a girl called Frida. I had a rather nice time, even though I only had a single bed. I had a rather nice time. So that's Istanbul and Greece, Athens as a cruise. I also went to near, as I got more time, I talked for an hour as it was for the first video. We went to Rome, and then we stopped. The last stop was just out. We didn't actually go into Naples. We stopped outside of Naples. You could see Naples from where we visited. I can't remember what we actually saw now, but it involved a coach trip from the cruise ship. So yeah, we visited those 4 points. I went to Sicily as well, Catania. I visited Catania as well and retraced my holiday steps, or some of them at least. So that's that. Luckily we didn't retrace the step where I got left behind in Messina after having watched a football match. I managed to get back on the cruise ship. This is, I don't know if it's got a mark on it, however it has. This is Brussels. I went to Brussels. I'm pretty sure I flew because I've only used the Eurostar once. And I had this strange message when I arrived that I wasn't allowed to sleep. I was only staying one night. I wasn't allowed to sleep. So that was in my head, of course. I did say I'm mad, didn't I, previously? And so I couldn't sleep the whole night. I had to stay awake. So I'm just about managed. And then I thought, oh, trying to keep awake, what can I do? And this isn't necessarily the best option. But very early on in the morning, there's a leaflet for a massage. So I rang up and a lady arrived for the massage. And I thought, massage. However, she massaged me. And not all over, and not in my favourite place. Singapore, the lady did massage my cock. However, unfortunately, in Brussels, she just gave me a massage. She brought out like a pasting table. She brought with her. It's all very professional, but I wanted a massage. So that's Brussels. Also, I watched, to keep me awake, and this also, yes, so I presumably, yes, again, it's memories. I decided to put an adult film on, lesbians, because it's not that I like lesbians. I prefer a woman who likes a man. However, I'm not going to watch a man having sex with a woman, so I watched lesbians. I put the film on, waiting to see what it was going to be. And would you believe it? It was the very same film I'd watched in Los Angeles on the very first night I arrived in Los Angeles at the very nice hotel. I couldn't believe it. Same film. And not only that, they'd either there was a line across the screen, or they blurred things out, forgotten now. Either way, it made it unwatchable because all the best bits were missing. So next day, when I was checking out, because the ladies on the reception desk, the bloke probably didn't bother, I asked for a refund for the film, and she wasn't particularly happy. And then a bloke came up and stood behind her and looked pretty annoyed as well. So I had a bit of a tense situation. However, I did actually get a refund. So yeah, it was good. It was a shame because it was disappointing to actually see the same film twice. And 2, I didn't watch it all because it was unwatchable. So I really enjoyed it in Los Angeles. Kept me occupied for hours. Well, about 45 minutes, I suppose. So that's what I can remember about Brussels. Before I forget, as well, there are, I think, 5 or 6 places I haven't been. I booked hotels and flights, or flights and almost always hotels. That's an S today. Coffee and an S. And some places I didn't go because I got too stressed. I got fed up travelling. And so I booked flights, hotels, and then when it actually came to taking the trip, I decided I couldn't bother. Yeah, I know. The way I justified it was that I'd saved money by not going. I know that sounds a bit stupid. However, that's the way I justified it. I can't face security crowds, the coaches or trains to get to the airport, like Gatwick. Gatwick is 2 trains at least. Heathrow, I had to get the coach. I just get too stressed. If I was travelling with someone else other than Polly, who's unfortunately a toy penguin who I can't book a seat for, it would be okay. So travelling away when I get too stressed. So where haven't I been? I haven't been to Barcelona. I haven't been to Stockholm. I haven't been to Miami. I haven't been to Edinburgh on a flight. So I've been subsequently. I drove up when I stayed in Newcastle. Haven't flown to Edinburgh. Haven't gone to Bucharest. So that's that. Bucharest. That's my thumb. Bucharest, Barcelona, Stockholm, Miami, Edinburgh, and the other place. Yeah, there's one other place I did manage to get to the airport. Checked in, or was checking in, and they said to me, "You need a visa." I was going to Beijing. You need a visa. I need a visa. Do I? Oh. And I didn't realise I needed a visa to go to Beijing in China. So I got all the way to the airport and had to go home because I rang the embassy and it was just options that went nowhere. So as a result, neither did I. The only thing worth saying is I got in terrible financial mess because of all these breaks. Right, so this one is, I think this is the first, I can't remember a trip before this. This is also a solo's holiday, and it basically lots of drinking. On, I think it was Gran Canaria, so I can't tell you much, apart from, oh, I won't mention that, no, I haven't got time. Except I made a bit of a mistake with the ladies. Yes, I'll say that. I'm not sure which was the worst mistake. I think probably, with hindsight, I should have gone to her room another night. Yes, with hindsight, with the way the world turned out. Because basically, I picked one lady, or she picked me. I think that's how it works. She picked me, and then I thought, oh, I prefer someone else, and so I said, look, not tonight, because I fancied my chances somewhere else, and I didn't have anywhere else. I didn't have a chance at that other place. So that was the reason why I didn't see her a second night, because I fancied someone else more. Unfortunately, I should have stuck with the bird in the hand, yeah. Or the hand in the bird, whichever. Which reminds me, I've never been to Lucy Pinder. I know I've got the fridge magnet on the bread bin. I've never been to Lucy Pinder. That's a new place. So that's Canaries. I think that was over New Year, in the New Year in 2005, I think. I can't quite remember. I think that was my very first trip on my passport. Is that probably, no, you don't need a passport to get you into the mental hospital now, which was my first trip away from home once I had the passport. Finally, for the time being, this 1st of April 2004, they decided they wanted to put me away for 8 weeks. I was very impressed. Not. So, this is the final fridge magnet, only because it's alphabetical order, ignoring the fact that I didn't stick to it. Oslo. The reason I probably didn't get a souvenir from Oslo was because when I returned to the airport to fly home, I literally landed in the airport departure area, check-in area, about 2 minutes before they closed the desk, because it's my fault to begin with. Somehow I got the coach times wrong. The airport that Ryanair used was miles and miles and miles away from actually from Oslo, and you had to get a coach to the airport. I was about an hour, I think, an hour on the coach, if not more. And when I was due to fly home, unfortunately, somehow I managed to get all the times wrong, and all the coaches gone before my flight. So I don't know, what do I do? Because the other options, I suppose, would be to book another flight. So I checked out a taxis. It gave me a price, and so I paid for a taxi to drive me to the airport. Unfortunately, he pretended it was a guy from the Indian subcontinent. I don't know which part. He decided he didn't know where he was going, and so we meandered all over the place. I didn't believe it, but I just carried on listening to Def Leppard, as you do. Greatest hits it was, in the back of the taxi, and hoped we'd get there. I didn't see what other options were open to me, really, apart from, I suppose, taking over the taxi. But then again, I didn't know where I was either, so that wouldn't be much good either. So yeah, he meandered all over the place and pretending that he didn't know where he was going, and finally got me to the airport. Literally seconds to spare. I had to run to the check-in desk to make sure I got in, and then dash through to the plane. So that's why I have no Oslo souvenir. Actually, Oslo itself, can't remember much about it, apart from where there's a big open square of buildings around. I don't remember disliking it. I remember liking it, but that's all I can remember of Oslo. The airport being miles away, and the frantic, fraught trip to the airport, listening to Def Leppard's greatest hits, which I was able to actually finish listening to. The journey was that long, and that meandering. Talking of which, I think I've covered everything now, haven't I? Yeah, so those are fridge magnets I haven't actually bought in the location. That one because I ran out of time. That one because I wasn't really thinking about getting souvenirs. That one probably because I was too stressed to get me a refund. That one because I wasn't getting souvenirs, I don't know really. And that's the same really. Although I did get that to ring, which Keely Hazel, if she really exists, might have. So there you go. This original was wasting more SD card time on his camera. That's time for a chocolate. Remember that chat I did about fridge magnets and souvenirs from travelling around the world? Well, I was tidying up my wardrobe, and lo and behold, I found this baseball cap I bought in Brussels. So I didn't actually need to buy a Brussels fridge magnet, because this is my Brussels baseball cap from Brussels.